Hello everybody, my name is Christian, and today we are going to be taking a look at the new prydwen tier list now that Phainon is officially out and released into the game. So the thing is though, is that with these tier lists, I'm going to say, by the time I upload this, it has probably already changed. Most importantly, Phainon's placement has probably changed since they tend to update it about a week after the character actually comes out, but I kind of missed my chance to do the last one that I wanted to do, so we're just going to send it. I'm going to assume that Phainon's placements really won't change substantially, and yeah, I think it'll be fine, so I really just want to take a look, talk about my thoughts, and yeah, because there has been quite a bit of movement going on right now that I feel like we kind of need to discuss a little bit. Before we get into the video, if you guys haven't already, please consider subscribing down below. We're getting close to 10,000 subscribers, and I would love to hit that soon. Also, join the Discord. Apparently, I don't plug the Discord enough. So yeah, join the Discord. It's down below. You can find it either in my About section or in the description. Alright, back to the video. Alright, so, I don't think I did this in the last video, but we are actually going to take a look at the changelog specifically, because there is a lot of stuff to look over right now. My voice is a little cooked right now, but alright, so it's talking about Phainon, and it's talking about all 4 of the buffed characters. So right now, we see Phainon getting placed initially in T0 for MOC, 0.5 for Apocalyptic Shadow, and T1 for Pure Fiction. Honestly, I think these are pretty good placements. Pure Fiction is always just, you need to be a specific type of character to really succeed at all in Pure Fiction. And I'm not sure that Phainon is that type of character. I don't think he's going to be bad in Pure Fiction, but I also can't see him being super great. If you're running him sustainless, so you constantly get your ultimate out, there's a chance he could still be pretty good. But I think the average Phainon player just won't have that much fun with him in Pure Fiction, I gotta be honest. So now we're going to scroll down a little bit. These are the ones, I'm going to be honest, this is what I care about way more than Phainon. I will say, Phainon, one of the coolest characters they have ever made. He looks incredible. I'm really sad that I cannot get him, I'm gonna be honest. But, oh well, it be like that. This is what I'm really curious about. So, Blade. Blade with his buffs. He is now up to T1 in MOC, T1 in Pure Fiction, and Apocalyptic Shadow, he has no changes. I think he's 1.5 in that. I can check real quick. He is 1.5. So, honestly, pretty good buffs for Blade. I'll get more into him later, but honestly, I'm very happy for Blade specifically. I really like that they have given him full access to an HP kit. It works so much better for him. So, next up is Silverwolf, and yeah, Silverwolf is... oh my god, dude. In MOC, Silverwolf has just been raised to 0.5. Pure Fiction has been raised to T2. And in Apocalyptic Shadow is now a T0 character. That is incredible. And most importantly, I think she is fully deserving of this buff. The fact that now you have a 45% defense shred on all enemies, so higher than Pela, you still get it on the entire enemy team, and it's a higher base chance now, from what I remember. And even if it isn't, I know at the very least her skill is now a higher base chance. It's just incredible. It is so good. And the bugs combined with that, and then if you want to run like a, what's it called, Resolution Shines, this is such a phenomenal change to the character. I love this so much. And I feel like this very firmly puts Silverwolf as the second best defense shredder in the entire game. And if you want purely defense shred, she's absolutely the best. It's just the fact that Cypher gives at least 40% vulnerability off rip. That's hard to compete with since she already does so much damage on top of that, but my god, if you just want to destroy enemy defense, Silverwolf has never been better, and that is awesome to see. So now we have Kafka and Black Swan, and this one is interesting because only Kafka is getting a buff. However, Black Swan is the biggest fucking reason that Kafka can do what she does. So it makes sense to raise them together. So in MOC, we're going from T2 to T1, and in Pure Fiction, we're going to T3 to T1. And then in Apocalyptic Shadow, I think they're 2, I think? Yeah, but they're both T2. Yeah, this is another change where I'm like, I really like this, actually. Kafka, the way Kafka's played now is honestly very interesting. Kafka isn't really a damage character now, which is insane to think about. Like, we'll get into this a little bit more later, because, oh my god, people let me hear it on the buff video. But, yeah, Kafka is in a very interesting position, where Black Swan is now the premier damage, and that's very, very interesting. And down here, last but not least, we have Jingliu. Jingliu has made a little bit of a bump up. So we got T2 to T1.5 in MOC, she's now T3 in Pure Fiction, and T1.5 in Apocalyptic Shadow. So, I really like Jingliu, and I really like what they did for her. But man, if you do not have the proper team still, she struggles, unfortunately. This is the type of character where it's like, if you have Hyacinth with her signature light cone, Jingliu's gonna be incredible for you. Like, there is not a single argument you can make about that. If you have Hyacinth with the light cone to constantly drain HP, alongside Jingliu's drain, you're set, you're done. You have a phenomenal team, like, probably without any other influence. However, Jingliu just doesn't have a lot of leeway with the team, and while I still really like the character, and I have a fairly good team that I can run for her, it is just a little bit unfortunate that she will not be in as good of a position as somebody like Blade, at least upon initial inspection. However, there is also the option of running them together with like a Triby and a Hyacinth, and honestly, that sounds pretty cool. Like, I actually quite like that team can possibly exist again. We'll have to see about that, but either way, I am happy to see that she is at least raised a little bit. Nowhere near as much as the golden girl of this update, Silverwolf, but hey, it is nice to see that these have made substantial changes for every single one of the buff characters. So now we're going to run through all the non-buff characters. I'm probably going to do this a bit faster, so Mighty has dropped to T0.5. That is understandable. He was already not the strongest when he came out, and then Castros immediately came out after him, and now we have just the absolute destroyer of worlds that is Phainon, so that makes sense. Anexa is being watch-listed. I 100% agree with this. Everybody in my Discord sings the praises of Anexa constantly, and I have to admit, I get it. That character, built correctly, is an absolute demon, and it is genuinely scary what he is capable of, so yeah, no. If he ends up even higher, I will not be surprised in the slightest. That is a character with a bunch of potential to be played in multiple different ways, too. So, yeah. Good on you, Anexa, well done. Rappa is dropping down to T1. Super Break sucks right now. That's just the harsh reality, and I'm sad about that, but what are you gonna do? Acheron is dropping down to T1. I am curious to see how this one ends up, because if that Silverwolf buff alongside like a Cypher team really does a lot for her, then I feel like she could actually rise back up immediately. It is really gonna depend, but I think there's a world. Firefly and Boothill, once again, Super Break struggling, and these two don't have the same multi-target capacity that Rappa has, so they drop a bit further. That's understandable. Jingliu has dropped to 1.5 because Acheron is objectively better than him. Don't come at me in the comments. I'm sorry, it is an objective fact. A good built Acheron versus a good built Jingliu is really not comparable. And last but not least, Dr. Ratio, Dan Heng, and Clara have all dropped below the meta line to T3. Yeah, that's absolutely fair, and once again, I hope that Dan Heng and Baibaru Lune and Dr. Ratio do receive buffs very soon, because I feel like they are very deserving of them. Or at the very least, shift the game back to a bit more single target or blast encounters, and then these characters will perform slightly better. Overall, though, this is just not the best spot to be in currently. What are you gonna do? Alright, so now let's take a look at our support DPS category. Argenti has dropped to T1 because he is simply not as good of a partner for the Herda. I absolutely agree with this. I don't actually see anybody running Argenti with the Herda nowadays, so kind of an El Bozo moment. Next up, we have March 7th, the Hunt, dropping to T1.5. Topaz has once again regained an edge. Topaz is just one of the most incredible characters in this game. Oh my god. That is completely fair. Derval is also dropping to T1.5. I'm gonna be honest, I actually see more people playing Serval with the Herda, and I know that's because free-to-play option. However, damn, Serval kind of goated for that. Yeah, I don't think this is actually a really big deal. I mean, just play whatever you can with the Herda. And Moz has dropped to T2. There is still an ongoing conversation constantly about Moz versus March 7th Hunt, and I do understand it, and I do understand why Moz can be better. But at the same time, I personally like March 7th Hunt more, and I also think March 7th Hunt is just a slightly more versatile character than Moz, so I think that this is perfectly fine. So, okay, 2 more to go. Amplifier tier, nothing but drops across the board because of the Silver Wolf buff. So, Jiao with Acheron dropping, that's her best teammate, he's going down. Tingyun, with the death of Super Break, she's going down. Harmony Trailblazer, with the death of Super Break, they're going down. And Pela's one niche is that she could hit all targets when Silverwolf couldn't, and now that Silverwolf can, if you have Silverwolf, Pela is absolutely obsolete, and it's not close. Yeah, sorry about that, Pela. I mean, hey, you're still a great free-to-play option at least. So now we move on to our final thing, which is Sustain, and Lingsha has dropped from T0 to T0.5. She does have a place on many of the other teams in the game. The problem with that is Huohuo and Hyacinth are simply the best healers in the game currently because of the utility that they provide. Lingsha does not offer that same utility. She offers great healing, and she does offer good damage, but nowhere near the level of Hyacinth, and the utility that she offers is really nowhere near the level of Huohuo, because energy regen is goated. Bit unfortunate, because I personally still really like Lingsha, and Lingsha is still really good, don't get it twisted, but yeah, this is just kind of an unfortunate spot for Lingsha to be in. And yeah, we could look at the Pure Fiction changes as well, but I'm mostly concerned about the MOC stuff. So now, let's actually scroll down and take a look at the landscape of the game. So in our T0 here, we still have Aglaya, we have Castorus, we have Phainon now, we have the Herda, and then we have Anexa and Mighty just below them. So with these DPS characters, I will say, for the amount of people who are absolutely shitting on Aglaya, it is really nice to see that she has still managed to persist this long. And I say this long like she didn't come out in 3.0, but with how outdated DPS can get nowadays, to see Aglaya still performing well is honestly awesome to see. This is a character that I personally really love, and I think is one of the more fun characters in the game if you're willing to put in that level of investment needed. Seeing her still be able to succeed in the endgame game modes, and really, it's not just MOC, because she's also really good in Apocalyptic Shadow, and she can still perform in Pure Fiction, surprisingly. It is just awesome to see that Aglaya can actually still hold up. I love to see it, and yeah. I don't think she's going to fall off that drastically. I have to imagine she is going to fall off soon, because I just feel like the game is probably going to shift to something new again, or it might shift to like something where she won't be able to keep up as much. But for right now, she's still doing well, and I have to imagine she'll still keep doing well for a little bit longer. Castorus, I'm not even going to waste my time talking about Castorus. She is easily one of the best DPS in the game right now, and she will continue to be one of the best DPS in the game right now. Especially for all those people who couldn't get Castorus Cone, there is now a new option in the game with that Cyrene Cone. I don't care if it's more suited for like Hyacinth, it increases max HP, that's all you're concerned about. That is literally all you need to worry about when it comes to Castorus. There you go, you now have a free-to-play option that should do perfectly fine. Yeah, that character is amazing, and she's going to hold up for quite a while longer, especially since they've really been enjoying the HP meta stuff. The Herda, I am admittedly shocked to see that Herda is still in freaking T0 for MOC, and it is a bit to do with the fact that they keep providing bosses that have summons, or they keep providing bosses who have like HP sharing, all that good stuff. Either way, it is very surprising to see Herda still doing this well in MOC specifically. I think at this point, you absolutely need one of her best premium teammates, and by one of her best premium teammates, I really think the main thing we're looking at here is Anexa. But either way, I think it is incredible that the character's still holding up, and more importantly, the character's still going to hold up super well in Pure Fiction. Herda is never going to fall off horribly in Pure Fiction. That is just not in the equation. Apocalyptic Shadow, she could inevitably fall off, but right now, it really hasn't been a huge deal for her. Yeah, this is still just one of the best designed DPS in the game. Super beginner friendly, super just versatile. This is still one of the best pickups I think you can get nowadays. And last but not least, let's talk a little bit about Phainon. So whenever I was making my video about who you should pull, I truly did not understand how good Phainon would be. And even then, I actively told every single person watching, whether you are a new or experienced player, you will love Phainon. I made that statement still not truly understanding how good he was. In blast or single target scenarios, this character is insane. And he has such a high skill ceiling, because you just need characters who can target him. You can get very, very creative with that if you try. There is still a limit to what you can do, because the thing is, though, is that you're going to be pigeonholed into characters that have selectable abilities. There aren't that many of those, but you still get the option of, like, Bronya, RMC, Sunday, Tingyun. You can use Gallagher as your healer. You can use Luocha as your healer. More importantly, you can just go sustainless, and if you really want to, you can perfectly speed tune 3 action advancers to all immediately go after each other to keep this man healthy. Imagine just you have, like, a Sparkle with a Sunday cone, a Sunday with a Sunday cone, and then a Tingyun with a Sunday cone, and maybe, like, Dance, Dance, Dance. That is unbelievable value. What Phainon can do is really just super impressive to me personally, and I'm really excited to see more of him in the future, like whenever the inevitable I zero cycled with Phainon videos come out, or just the constant, like, shoving of it down our throats from every content creator, big or small. Either way, I am actually very excited to see it, and he's also been very interesting in the story, so this is just overall a great character. It's really nice to have him in the game finally. I am super, super happy with how they've presented him. Alright, so now let's talk about Anexa real quick. Anexa's a really good character. Anexa's really, really good. I did not think Anexa would be able to do what he did whenever I first saw him. He can be a support character, he can be a primary DPS, he can be a sub DPS, he can be a super break character. Anexa is simply incredible at what he does. This is one of the most unique and interesting characters that they have put in this game, and I really did not think that that would be the case. Like, when I first saw him, I thought he was fine. I thought he'd be pretty good, but this is just this is an unbelievable level. He has gotten to a point where, in most cases, if you want a dedicated DPS, he might genuinely be better than the Herda. And I don't really think it's a might. If you want a primary dedicated DPS, he is probably just better than the Herda. Now, when it comes to AoE scenarios, then we can start having a talk, because a bounce skill compared to what the Herda has is a little bit different. But either way, just what this character is capable of doing, the damage he's capable of outputting, the consistent follow-ups, he is so, so good. And again, I just truly did not expect that. This is another one of those characters where when he comes around again, I would highly recommend getting him if you do not have him, and if you have good supports for him. He is really, really powerful, and he will probably hold up for a while due to just the nature of his kit. Just overall, great job, Anexa. Alright. So, Mighty, I already kind of touched on it, but yeah, Mighty's just, he doesn't stack up with a lot of the newer DPSs. He doesn't have the same absolute depth of potential as some of the other ones, and that's a shame, because I really like Mighty. But yeah, it's just not super, super good for him right now. Like, the elements of a lot of the bosses aren't amazing, and even when they are, it's a lot of fights that don't really appeal to him at this point. I still think that the character is very, very good, and I think that you can succeed with the character easily. Like, for example, Emmy, who's been on the channel, just uploaded a video of doing a zero cycle with Mighty. So, Mighty is still really, really good, but yeah, it's not the current best landscape in the game for him right now. Alright, so now we can move on to the support DPS, which is Tribby and Cypher. We're going to mostly skip over Tribby. Everybody knows Tribby is incredible. 30% vulnerability, 24% res pen, follow-ups, additional HP for herself. One of the best characters in the entire game. Incredible. I'm going to talk about Cypher. People were shitting on Cypher, and I get it, because Phainon was immediately after, Saber is coming out right after, Archer, and then in 3.5, we're getting Hysolins and Ceridra. I get it, but also Cypher is so good. I've recently started using Cypher on my Casterus team, and that is so much better than I thought it could possibly be. It is actually incredible how much damage they do. Like, Cypher gets so much charge from Casterus. The vulnerability for the dragon is insane. The ultimate does so much damage when you actually get to let it rip. And really, the character just works so well in more scenarios than I expected. I thought Casterus would be, like, a sort of situation where Cypher is the second best option. No, Cypher works incredibly well. And I am shocked by this, and I am very happy about it, because now I can use RMC for my Aglaia. Okay, well, that would be the case. I did just recently get Sunday. I don't want to talk about it. Anyway, moving on. Cypher is absolutely incredible. I really love Cypher. It is awesome to see her succeed like this. And yeah, this is a great, great pickup, especially if you're in the camp of you don't have enough supports for your team. Like I said that very clearly in the video, she is so good to the point where she can be easily one of the top slots on one of your teams now. It's not just a second best fill-in sort of situation. She can be one of the best, and that is awesome to see. Again, I'm just super happy about Cypher. I really love Cypher, so this is just, this is so vindicating. I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna skip Jade. Jade hasn't really changed anything, so good job, Jade. You're doing great for the Herda. We actually don't see much change in Apex amplifiers either. Robin, Sunday, RMC, yeah, there's not really much to say. These are three characters that almost every good team in the game can make use of. Aglaia loves all three of them. Phainon can make use of at least two of them. Mighty can make use of all three of them. Anexa can make use of all three of them. Fei likes them. Blade can make use of at least two of them. This is overall just, these are the three best amplifiers in most cases. It's really hard to argue against them. It's just, yeah, it's cool to see. However, that does move us on to the polar bear in Arlington, Texas, Silverwolf. Silverwolf is a T0.5 character now. That is incredible. That is simply incredible. And I did not think that this day would ever come where they would give buffs. And more importantly, I did not think a day would ever come where the buffs would be this goddamn impactful. This is incredible. Silverwolf is an energy regenerating machine. She is an ultimate machine. She will constantly pump out defense shred. She will constantly pump out bugs to fuck up the enemy. She is just a demon. And more importantly, if you run her on like Eagle set, for example, so you can get that action advance consistently, you're going to be making use of that a lot with the right Silverwolf setup. And even then, her potential for damage is more there now because she gets additional attack from her effect hit rate numbers. Again, she is not really in the sub DPS category because in most cases, she probably will not be dishing out as much damage as Cypher or Tribby. You can build her to probably outfit nearly as much damage as them. But then compared to, if the same amount of investment is put into a damaged Silverwolf as a damaged Cypher from two really good players, the Cypher is still probably going to win. However, the utility that Silverwolf provides basically still keeps it neck and neck. I am super impressed with what they've done to Silverwolf, and I'm super happy about it. So hey, for all you Silverwolf players who have really just not been able to use her in a long time, welcome to heaven. You deserve this. You genuinely deserve this. Looking over at Sustain now, Huohuo and Hyacinth are still the top of the top. I don't think I've talked about Hyacinth at any point. This character's stupid. This character is absolutely incredible. This character does way too much, in my opinion. Buffing max HP for HP scalers, absolutely huge. Being able to dish out so much personal damage all on her own, with her light cone being able to drain HP as well, can be a huge buff to characters like Jingliu, characters like Blade. Actually, I'm not sure what it does for Castress, I'm going to be honest. But either way, this is absolutely huge, what that character is able to do. And even then, she can slot in on almost any other team in the game and just do as much damage as a sub DPS while also keeping your ass alive. Like, that character is incredible. I think she is significantly overtuned. And then if you read her Eidolons, you will cry. What a character, man. This is the most deserving T000 in the entire game, I think, right now. Like, that and Tribi, probably. It's nice to still see Huohuo doing well, just because so many characters have relied so heavily on energy, and the little buff she gives is admittedly nice, at the very least. Her actual sustain, I feel like, is somewhat lacking nowadays, but when you provide that much utility, it's one of those things where you'll learn to deal with it, you'll learn to walk around it. Overall, just, it's good to see Huohuo still succeeding. I wish I could get the goddamn character. She always comes around when I can't get her, and I am sad, haha. So, we are going to actually scroll down to the second tier of sustain here. Gallagher's still doing well. Nobody's surprised. Aventurine still down there. Yeah, nobody has benefited from shields recently. In the most recent MOC against Hule, Aventurine was one of the few sustains for many people who could actually keep their characters alive. So, that's big. And then Lingsha dropping a little bit. It's really just a comment about the state of the game right now. I think Lingsha is still an incredible character. But yeah, very easily right now, Hyacinth is the best, and then Huohuo just has way more utility for the characters who are at the top. I don't think any of the characters in the second tier of sustain are bad, and obviously Gallagher is actually still one of the absolute best healers in the game for Castress if you don't have Hyacinth. But it's just, yeah, there's a very clear hierarchy with every single one of these tiers, and it's interesting that DPS actually has the most diversity in it. Like, that is genuinely surprising to see, but when you make that many of them, you're bound to get more hits. That's all I'm saying. So now, let's scroll down a bit. I won't be talking about everyone, but there are a few characters I want to check off real quick. Alright, so let's talk about Acheron. Acheron is continuing to drop, mainly because she came out in 2.1. The fact that she was this good for this long is honestly incredible. They really like Acheron. I think Silverwolf's buffs could still do good things for her. So a team of Silverwolf, Acheron, and then probably a support, just because those are kind of the most important thing right now. I think this could still do a lot for the character. But as of right now, she is probably going to be on a constant decline finally. However, I don't think it'll last too long because they love Raiden Mei. They love Acheron. Acheron has made them so much money. I think that they are going to buff her at some point, but I hope, I pray, they buff characters who need it more first. Then, Rappa, Firefly, Boot Hill. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say. It's just Super Break is in a bad spot right now. It's unfortunate. I would love to see them finally do a bit better, but we're not in a place where Break is really good in the game right now, and there's been no new Super Break support in a while. I hope that we get something new in, like, version 4.0 or whatever. Maybe even in the tail end of 3.x, but don't see that too likely. So, Super Break is probably going to still be on a decline for a while, but hey, you can still make the characters work if you try hard enough, and on certain bosses, they still will be some of the best. I promise you that, so they will not disappear entirely from the game. Phainon and Jingliu were already here, so we're going to skip over them. Blade. Blade is going to be a stupid character going forward. Blade is really, really good. There's an argument that you could already raise Blade to 0.5. If you have the exact same team as, like, Mighty wants, which is going to be Sunday, Tribi, and then Hyacinth, if you have that exact same team, that is going to be really good. Or if you wanted to, you could do RMC instead of Sunday so that Hyacinth gains even more, and then you still pair that with Blade. I think that this character has such a high potential to really do well nowadays. Not to mention, you can get Eidolons for absolute free. So you are more likely to get like an E2 Blade than an E2 Mighty. And Blade's Eidolons are honestly not bad. Blade's Eidolons can actually do fairly good for him. So if you collect those could actually be pretty impactful. I am just super, super impressed with Blade. And it does make me kind of want to Blade myself now. But I have Jingliu, I have Castress, I can wait. I can wait a little bit. Moving over to the next one, Black Swan and Kafka. I am super happy to see DOT succeeding. I am super excited for Hysolence to come out since it seems that she will be a return to traditional DOT. I need to rebuild my Kafka entirely, but hey, I don't really care. I'm super excited to just see it doing well. I think DOT is going to be in a better spot for a little bit. DOT is just so hard to make permanently good in this game, and that's very unfortunate. But I do also think this is a good step for the future of making Kafka almost like a buffer for DOT, and then you let a character like Black Swan, who is a little weaker, she's the main source of damage, and Kafka is an enabler. I think that's a unique twist, and I think that that can allow for a bit more of a different way to play that will allow a bit more longevity. We'll have to see about that, but I'm hopeful at the very least. Yeah, Topaz is above March, that's crazy. We're already back. We're already back to Topaz still continuously being one of the most just impressive characters in this entire game. Topaz came out in 1.x, dude. Topaz came out in like 1.4. She's still a T1 support DPS. That's incredible. This is one of the best designed characters in Star Rail, and I'm going to make a video about her. I am so impressed. Alright, moving on over to Amplifier. Yeah, there's not much to say. I am sad to see my wife falling down a little bit, but Super Break does not have a place in the game currently. I really wish that that wasn't the case, but Super Break does not have a place in the game currently that it can really exceed anything else. So it makes sense for that to drop. Acheron's dropping, so Jiao Cho's got to drop. And Pela has to drop because Silverwolf is just so objectively better. There isn't an argument for it anymore. So Pela's got to drop a little bit to really reflect how much higher Silverwolf is now than all these other defense shredders. It's insane how that one little thing has done so much. But again, when you are just improved that much as a character, what else can you say? Silverwolf is simply that far ahead of them now that it's really not super comparable. So I feel like you have to lower these other characters to really dig it home that this is the hierarchy now. These are changes that were probably a long time coming, and they were just waiting to really implement them, and I think that's totally fair. Everything on this screen right now, I'm gonna be honest, it does make sense in my opinion. I do think Jingliu might have the potential to go higher, but it needs very specific characters. I think DOT, there's a chance it could stagnate again, but we will have to see. I think Silverwolf could actually be even bigger for the game, and I think Blade could be even bigger for the game. Overall, so we definitely have a little bit longer to wait on how much these buffs are going to change the game, and how much the state of the game is going to change as a result of all the new characters coming out in a rapid time. But man, I'm gonna admit it, it's also really exciting to see so much kind of change going on. I know some people are obviously pissed about it, and I know some people were even pissed about just having to switch their Jingliu relics, which, by the way, HP scaling is going to be so much better for her, and if you disagree, you're kind of stupid. I'm sorry, but HP scaling is objectively better, at the very least for her. I think the state of the game right now is super interesting. I don't love that they keep increasing HP so much, it feels like. And even if when they do drop it a little bit, because I'm pretty sure they were supposed to drop it this MOC, or like the next MOC, it's still so high, and I feel like it's not super welcoming to a lot of people anymore. But overall, the characters that are coming out, the abilities that they have, the absolute diversity of characters that can succeed and do well, it's super high right now, and honestly, I'm very happy to see that when it felt like we were going down a bit of a darker path for a little bit there. Like, look at all these watch lists. All of these watch lists are positive. Anexa can go up. Silverwolf can go up. Blade can go up. Fucking Kafka, Jingliu can go up. These are positive watch lists. That's awesome. That is very cool to see. I feel like that doesn't happen very often. This is a good spot for the game. I'm not sure how many of you are going to agree with me on that, but I really do think that this is a good spot for the game to be in. Alright, that about wraps up my thoughts for today. That felt like it took a while. I'm hoping I can cut that down at least a little bit in editing. We'll have to see. Either way, I really hope you guys enjoyed. We haven't done this in a while, so, you know, tell me if you enjoyed and all that. Tell me how you feel about the state of the game. And yeah, I got more good content coming out soon, so I will see you guys then. Bye-bye.